The origins of the four personality temperaments date all the way back to ancient Egypt and basically biblical Egypt. And then, however, the Greek physician Hippocrates was the first one to use the concept in medicine. Yeah, that's the same Hippocrates that the medical Hippocratic Oath is based on. If you watch the doctor shows on TV, do no harm. But Hippocrates was trying to figure out why people with the same education, same religious beliefs, same experience, and same teachers could look at data and draw two totally different conclusions to that data. And he theorized that different people had different personality temperaments. And these temperaments or types cause people to see the world through different filters. For example, let's say that you bring two friends to an art museum and you give one friend a pair of glasses that have a red film over the lenses. Now, when that friend looks at the art, every piece of art that he looks at is going to have a red tint. So you give another friend a pair of yellow-tinted glasses, and when she looks at the art, everything has a yellow color. At the end of the tour, you can ask your friends to describe their favorite pieces, and although all three of you looked at the same exact pieces of art, the descriptions will be quite a bit different. Well, personality strengths and weaknesses work in a very similar way. Some people are very detail oriented, while others like to look at things from a big picture perspective. In addition, some people may be very forward and outgoing, while others are more reserved. And of course, some people absolutely love speaking in front of a group, while others absolutely detest speaking in front of a group. So, and that's based on a lot of the strengths and weaknesses that we have in our personalities. Let me kind of continue to give you the origin of how this kind of works. So Hippocrates and his students identified the four personality temperaments, and the theory was really, really simple. It's easy to understand because there were only two metrics that they were measuring people on. And the first metric measures whether the person is on one extreme a direct person and on the other extreme an indirect person. And on the second metric that they were measuring people on was whether the people were people oriented or logic oriented. Were they more interested in people or more numbers, facts, figures, that kind of thing? So the theory is very, very simple, by the way, and it's also very useful. If you can identify where somebody falls in each one of those two questions, you can pretty much determine how their communication style is going to is what their communication style is going to be, and how that will identify the strengths and weaknesses that that person has when he or she stands up in front of a group. So basically, to determine your strengths and weaknesses, just ask yourself those two questions. Are you more of a direct person or an indirect person? So indirect people tend to be more cautious. They tend to want to move a little more slowly in order to not make a mistake. Direct people tend to react more quickly. They realize that they may make mistakes, but they want to move fast so that they don't miss out on an opportunity. So before you kind of move on, you have to ask yourself that question. Am I more of an indirect person or am I more of a direct person? By the way, you're not both, right? Some people will say, well, I think I fall right in the middle. No, you don't. You don't. That's a falsehood. You can't. It's impossible to be both hot and cold at the same time, right? You either are or you're one or the other, even if it's mine, if you're a minor shift one way or the other. But basically, are you more the person that likes to jump in and take action and get things done right away, or are you more likely to, hey, let's be cautious, let's see how things kind of turn out? I'm less of a risk taker. And if you determine where you are at on that measurement system, it makes it easier for you to determine what your strengths are in front of a group. The second metric is, are you more people oriented or are you more logical? So people oriented folks tend to look at things based on how those things affect other people. They are more likely to analyze a decision based on how that decision will hurt or help the people around them or the people that they work around or work for them. Logical people tend to look at the world based on facts, figures, data, that kind of thing. So this process is really simple. It's easy to understand. In addition, you don't have to purchase expensive tests, the old Myers-Briggs or DISC profiles or all that kind of stuff. You don't really need any of that kind of stuff to determine a person's personality temperament or what their real strengths are and weaknesses are, especially when they stand up in front of a group. So before you go on to the next section, make sure you know where you fall on each one of those extremes. Are you more of an indirect person or a direct person? Are you more of a logical person or a people-oriented person? And when you have the answer to those two questions, then you can move on to the next section. We'll see you there.